Hello and welcome to Learn to Become Radio. I'm Alia Clausen, and today's episode is called Setting Our Next in Line Projects Up for Success. And my mom, April, is on voice rest for a few days because she's been getting over an illness and was talking a little too much last week. So the doctor's orders are for her to not talk right now. So I am going to be the one to do this little introduction for the podcast. So while this part is in my voice, these are her words introducing the little podcast snippet that I recorded for you. So you'll hear from me. The whole podcast is my voice, but the beginning and end parts are with love from April. So I'll dive right into that. She wrote, "I'm really excited for you to listen to this episode because in less than 10 minutes, Alia has modeled how simple it can be to prepare for important events or big projects that are happening at a future date. I can't tell you how many times I've heard someone say, I want to do meaningful projects for my family, myself, my loved ones, my business, my community, etc. But with so much going on, the thought will come into my mind and then just float away. I have good intentions, but they never seem to happen. You probably know how that feels, right? Like in episode 284, Claire Crawford, one of our steppers in our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, shared how she wanted to take a trip to Los Angeles to go to a concert with her brother. Normally, she said, she'd just lose the thought and the opportunity would pass. But when she finally had a system, it was nearly effortless to create that lasting memory she and her brother will now both cherish for the rest of their lives. Today, Alia is applying the process of creating a next-in-line project and utilizing project support materials to her family's Valentine's tradition called We Love to Be a Family Day. This is something our family of 6 did for 10 full years, and she'll share how you can learn more about it if you'd like to start your own tradition. But even if you aren't planning to host this kind of event, just hearing her process as a mother of 2 little children who runs the operations at Learn to Become, serves in her local community, and balances life with her husband Josh, who is in medical school, is inspiring. And she wrote, "I'd wish I had a quote and Alia to show me what to do when I was her age." And I'll have to interject here and say, this wouldn't be possible if I wasn't taught the system of STEP and having my own command central from a very young age. So definitely very grateful for my parents' examples and that I've been able to have my own system for the last 10 years. So, all right, back to April's message. And she said, "And if you're listening when this podcast goes live, we have 2 exciting events happening this month. Number 1 is that we are opening our STEP coaching membership on Thursday, February 5th, and this has been our most requested offering over the past 10 years, and now it's a reality. So if you would like to get organized with real human guidance from experienced professionals who once walked in your shoes and get more engagement with the STEP community to give you a lift along the way as you build and actually use your Command Central, please visit our coaching information page at learndobecome.com/coach. Early members get to shape the coaching experience, so if this sounds like exactly what you've been waiting for, please come check it out. And number 2 is that inside our Arise membership in the month of February, we're focusing on streamlining our indoor spaces. And it's all about creating breathing room in our indoor spaces with small, deliberate steps that reduce friction and decision fatigue. Basically, if it's been weighing on your mind, we're going to tackle it together with next actions and 10-minute microbursts. Eric and I, that's my mom, this is still her message, will share our own journey, and the kayak in our hallway will 100% be back in the garage, and all of the Arisers will be here to celebrate you. Our next live workshop will be held on Tuesday, February 10th at 10 a.m. Pacific, and there will be a full recording provided. Arise and STEP coaching can be done together, but typically we recommend you start with STEP coaching and then graduate, quote unquote, to Arise as you're ready to implement your established organization skills to a balanced, well-architected life. And all of these links will also be on our show notes page. All right, let's jump into today's podcast. So thank you, April, for the nice message, and super excited about our STEP coaching coming up and Arise. It's going to be so fun. And now we'll go into the podcast that I recorded as my past self a couple of weeks ago. So kind of fun. All right, into that podcast. Hi there, this is Alia from Teen Learn to Become, and I wanted to share a little bit about one of my projects that is currently in my next in line projects list, but it will be moved to my current projects list in just a couple of weeks. Now, this relates to our family tradition called We Love to Be a Family Day, and I actually recorded a whole podcast on this a few years ago, and you can find it at learndobecome.com/episode 111. And I won't go full into detail about We Love to Be a Family Day because that podcast has pictures and the whole history behind it, examples, and there's even a little worksheet that you can print out and use to map out your own holiday if you want to do the same thing that our family does. So essentially, We Love to Be a Family Day is where my mom usually would get a brown paper bag and she would make a little map on it, and the little map would have hearts that had clues on the back, and we would go from one clue to the next that would tell us what activity we would be doing as a family. And sometimes these activities were very small, such as making a breakfast at home together or doing a family group hug, or sometimes it would be to go see a movie at the local movie theater or getting lunch at a restaurant, something like that. And then there was usually an element of service or doing something for somebody else. For example, one year we baked some bread and took it to neighbors. Another year we volunteered at a local food pantry. And it was just super cool to see how it varied year by year, depending on where we were and what kind of ages the kids were in our family and things like that. And that really encouraged me to modify this tradition for my current family, where we're living pretty far away from all of our extended family. It's just us right now. And so I wanted to keep these family traditions alive in whatever way possible. And we do have 2 young kids, and that makes it even more needed to have those adaptations. And my husband's also in medical school, so we've had to change it up. But I wanted to share how I'm tackling this as one of my projects for my February current projects list and how I'm laying the groundwork right now. So again, you don't have to do an exact We Love to Be a Family Day, or if you do want to do this, but your circumstances look a little different, this is totally something that you could do with a friend or a neighbor or extended family member, whatever you might want to do. I think it's super fun to just plan a couple little activities to brighten not only your day, but also someone else's day through doing a little bit of service and just having a little day to celebrate the people that you love in your life. So right now, when I'm recording this, it is mid-January, and I have a project management digital tool that holds all of my projects, the current ones and the ones for the future. I have my current projects, my next in line projects, and then my someday projects that are going to be way in the future and maybe won't even happen. But next in line is usually where I have projects that will be added to my current projects list in the next 1 to 2 months. That's usually where I put it. So on this list, I have plan We Love to Be a Family Day for February. And right now, I'm just kind of in the brainstorming and gathering ideas part of the project. And that's why it's in next in line, because I'm not really acting on it. I'll bring it to my current projects list in February. And because this year we're going to celebrate around the last week of February instead of right around Valentine's Day like we have in the past, I just felt that it would be good to keep this in my next in line projects list. And then as ideas come to my mind while I'm going through my everyday routines with the kids or my husband doing his things with school, I know that I have a safe place to put all of my support materials and thoughts and ideas for this project, even though it's not one of my current projects. And I love knowing that I'm not just writing random notes to myself, either digitally or physically on scraps of paper and then maybe losing them. But instead, whenever I hear about a fun activity that we might be able to do as a family, I just quickly write it down in my capture tool. And then I keep that digitally as well in my Apple Notes app. And then when I'm figuring out where do all those items go from my capture tool into their final homes, I can just copy and paste whatever notes I've written down into the section of my digital project manager, and then all the notes are safe there. And then once it's February, I can move that project to my current projects list, and then I can look inside at those notes that I've taken in my little brainstorms, and then I can start taking action to create our plan for We Love to Be a Family Day. And in past years, our family always did this on a Saturday, and we'd spend pretty much the whole day doing anywhere from 5 to 9 little activities. They weren't always fancy. A lot of them were at home, but it was just fun to have a little heart piece of paper that would tell you a little clue, and then you do an activity all together as a family. And last year we realized that my husband's schedule was too busy in February to do a full day of different things, but we could make it a We Love to Be a Family week. And that allowed us to do one small activity every day for 5 days. And it was actually a lot of fun because it felt really manageable with our 1-year-old at the time. And I wasn't trying to figure out how we were going to do this big day of family tradition activities. It was nice to spread that out. And we're going to do the same thing this year now that we have our 2-year-old and now an 8-month-old. And we figured it would be just as fun to do one activity a day for 5 or 6 days. And it's going to be super fun. And I just know that it's not going to be stressful because I have my brainstorm written out right now of just things that might be fun and things that I'm seeing. For example, we were at my husband's campus and we were looking at different opportunities that we could do to do a little service project or a little thank you to some of the staff that was working there. And I was able to get the phone number for somebody and just make a quick call. And I actually did add this to my next actions list under my phone calls section because I wanted to get the green light ahead of time to make sure that this was okay for us to go forward with for the service project. And I was able to make a quick call and get a confirmation in just a few minutes. And then I don't have to do anything with that yet. That's going to stay on my list for another 2 or 3 weeks. Or not my list, but it's going to stay in my brainstorm list on my next in line projects list. And it's safe there until I'm ready to act on it. So I just want to share that encouragement that if you have projects that are coming up, whether it's a family tradition or a holiday coming up, or it's something like a move that you're going to be moving in the summertime, or that you need to do back to school shopping for kids in the fall, or if you need to do XYZ home repairs once the weather gets warmer, whatever your life might look like and whatever impending projects, are, just right there and they're going to be here before you know it, I would encourage you to add those to your next in line projects list. And that way you can be totally comforted in knowing that there's a safe place for these projects that are coming up. And then whenever somebody that you're talking to gives you an idea, or if a question or concern comes up, you can write it down, and everything can be safe in that next in line projects list because you know that there's a place for it and all your support materials can be in one place. And that's the first word of support materials, right? It's there to support you and it's there to help your brain relax and know that your projects are still waiting. They're on the shelf and sooner or later they're going to be brought to your current list to be acted upon. So I hope that if you do decide to do We Love to Be a Family Day, that you have lots of fun. And if that's not in the cards for you right now, I hope that you found this podcast helpful in talking about keeping track of support materials and making a plan for how to bring those projects that might be in your head or that are looming, that they can feel very manageable and know that they're not super nebulous and just out there, maybe going to happen, maybe not, that there is a process for this and that you can do it. So I hope that's helpful, and thanks for joining me here on the podcast. All right, now we're jumping to my future self, which is, I guess, the current self that I'm recording this podcast. But this is a quick closing that's also from April. And she writes, "We hope that you are feeling excited about your journey with Learn to Become this year. There's a lot happening behind the scenes to make each step with us feel focused, organized, and uplifting. And whether you're here for the free resources right now, or you're ready to jump into one of our programs or memberships, we are so, so grateful for you. We want you to wake up excited about life and go to bed feeling content with what you've created. We know that life can feel hard sometimes, and we're human here as well. But it's these little steps behind the scenes that add up, leaving you with more energy and capacity to do what matters most. And for a map of Learn to Become and a welcome kit of free resources, please visit learndobecome.com/welcome. And if you have any questions about how to best work with us, please don't hesitate to reach out to our team, either through a message on social media or delivered right by email to email@learndobecome.com. So thanks so much for sharing us with your friends as well, and for being a part of this community. We're so grateful to have the chance to serve you, and we'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.